Ladies and gentlemen, what's popping you with you? It's your man Sim. I'm here with Tony Crow and Savvy in the building. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Nas and Hit-Boy are about to drop Magic 2 on Friday, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I wasn't expecting this. I was kind of expecting it because I seen Nas drop the little thunderstorm thing, and I knew something was going on. But, sometimes Nas does some cryptic stuff, and it ends up being a single.
Right.
Or something like that. You know what I mean? But turns out he's dropping a full album, Magic 2, on Friday. Hitboy's the producer. What's this? The 5th one in a row? I don't know. Thoughts, Tony? What's popping with you, man? Thoughts?
Man, well, number one, perfect timing. Every time he dropped, no matter what I'm going through, it seemed like it's the right time. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. Consistency. A 5th album in 3 years.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
On a hell of a run, and it doesn't seem like he's slowing down or stopping, man. So
right,
I'm ready.
5th album in 3 years. That's crazy for Nas because historically, you know what I'm saying, Nas takes 2 years, 3 years. I mean, after he dropped Life is Good, what was it, 6 years before he dropped another album or something like that? Crazy. Now, he's on an incredible run, from the King's Disease trilogy to Magic and now Magic 2. We haven't heard it yet, of course. But, Savvy, can they do it again? I think that's probably the biggest question that everyone has. Can they do it again? Can Nas and Hit do it again?
They can do it again and again and again. Salute to the front stoop. Good to be back. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Nas and Hit-Boy could do this as many times as they feel like doing it because they done cracked the code of chemistry, of what makes all of this beautiful science, this beautiful magic work together so amazingly. Hit-Boy got Nas unleashed. And now Nas is dropping albums like when we're dropping tapes back in 08. And I love every single second of it. There's not one whack album that they have dropped together.
No, not at all. And they increasingly got better. They got better.
They got better every time.
You could argue they got better every time.
Every single time. One was better than the other every single time. And I expect the same magic from Magic 2.
And we're gonna have to start talking about them as a duo and seeing where they fit all time.
Word.
You know what I mean? With the DJ or the producer and the artist.
Yeah.
I mean they getting up there with the greats. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah.
As a combo. I'm talking EPMD. We back in business. I'm talking.
Nah, no doubt about it.
You know what I mean? Mobb Deep. I'm talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they gotta be. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to expect from the album. I mean, I think I do because of the title, Magic 2. You know what I mean? If you go back and you listen to Magic, I was listening to it as I was preparing to get on the show. You know what I mean? And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, so this is the soundscape maybe that we can expect from this album. You know what I mean? The content, what we can expect from the album. I think the album cover maybe gives you a little bit of a clue of what you can expect from the album. You see, a young Nas, and then it transforms into an old Nas, not old Nas, but an older Nas, an adult Nas. Tony, what do you expect? What's the content that you expect? The soundscape, the style. What do you expect from it?
To me, I think number one, we're gonna see a lot of both. You know what I mean? We're gonna see him reaching into his youth and recreating some of that energy, but also him grown. You know what I mean? Like So I think, I mean, you can't go wrong with any era of Nas, no matter what, in my opinion. Anyway, you know what I mean? When you talk about grassroots or to where he's grown to be, so
Right.
any combination, any mixture of all of that, man, I can't wait, bro.
You know, the only thing I can say is it feels like if you listen to all of Nas's albums from Illmatic on up to Najir, right? They all sound different. They all sound different. Excuse my dogs in the back. They're excited too. You know what I'm saying? They're a little bit happy because they know they're about to get some new beats bumping in a couple of days. But they all sound different, right? But when you get to King's Disease, I don't want to say they all sound exactly the same. They don't sound the same, but the style, the instrumentation behind it, you know, is similar styles. You know, soulful instrumentation mixed in with some new school sounds. You know what I mean? And I think it's the first time that Nas has found that kind of consistency with the instrumentation. Because from album to album in the past, it was, you know, different styles. You know what I mean? I mean, you can go from Illmatic to It Was Written. You know, Illmatic was a little more grungy. It Was Written was flossy. You know what I'm saying? And then when you get to I Am, that was a little bit more, you know, the beats, some of the beats on there sounded kind of keyboardish, you know, to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was different sounds all the time. It's been more consistent. You know, the soundscape behind the music has been more consistent. Not that the albums sound the same, but they've just been more consistent, which gives me more confidence that when this drops, you know, you're going to get something a little more, you know, similar to what you've heard on Magic 2, but still different. You know what I mean? You know?
And you know what's crazy is that, like, even on the tracks that they do at like lower tempos and like the slower tracks, the more vibe driven tracks, it's still very high energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's the perfect bag for a rapper artist like Nas to be in, is that high energy bag in whichever sort of cadence, tempo, rhythm that you want to put him in, and just leaving so much space for him to do these verbal gymnastics
Right.
all over the track. And it's a beautiful thing. And they already got more albums out than some duos that formed.
Word.
like after 2010.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like some of the more recent duos that we've seen.
Yeah.
How many albums does Run the Jewels have? They got like 4?
Nas, they already on the 5th.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Prime got 2.
Prime only got 2. And I like Prime. I like Run the Jewels too. I like Prime. They only got 2 albums.
Yeah.
Okay? The fact that they're able to be this consistent. Hitboy got Nas in the lab. Nas is having fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the most important part here is he's enjoying every second of all of it.
Right. And there's no pressure.
There's no pressure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, It Was Written. There was a little bit of pressure on Nas to sell.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, Illmatic dropped. You know, it was heralded by everybody, but it didn't. It took 10 years for it to go platinum. You know what I mean? And then you got Biggie doing what he was doing, Snoop on them on the West Coast doing what they was doing, but Nas, Illmatic didn't sell. It was, you know, everybody loved it, but it didn't sell like that. So now when It Was Written, style was a little bit more flossy. You know what I mean? You come with If I Ruled the World. You know, you had the Street Dreams remix that was, you know, radio friendly, which I love that song. You know what I'm saying? I wish it would have been on the regular album, but, you know, it is what it is. You know, so Nas came with a little bit different style. You know, some people frowned upon it, but when you look back at it now, you was like, okay, we dig what was going on. You know what I'm saying?
How could you frown upon that album? such a
It was a
fantastic
different time
album.
back then.
I had to have been there. Yeah, right. Like, man, all I gotta say is this: what the album cover tells me is this. When I was young Nas, I was iller than you. And right now, as the Nas right now, today, I'm iller than you.
No doubt.
And I've been making magic this whole time.
Yeah.
And it's true. And he's made a lot of magic in a very short amount of time. And what I think is going to be happening here is he's gonna be talking his shit. That I wanna hear that from Nas. I wanna hear him go all the way unleashed with it. And I'm looking forward to that feature. I'm not saying nothing about it yet, but I'm looking forward to that feature.
No, go ahead. We can jump into it. We was gonna jump into features anyway. You might as well go ahead.
Say, you know get right into it.
You might as well get into it.
There is ladies and gentlemen, I have been jumping off the walls since I saw 50 Cent post the album cover saying he's a feature on the album.
Yeah.
How long has it been since Projects Too Hot dropped?
And this is what 50 said right here. He said, y'all ain't heard me in a minute. Nas felt like it was time, so it's done. Check us out Friday. And the rest of it is, talking about Magic 2. So, yeah, 50 is on the album.
The track is called Office Hours.
Office Hours, that's the name of the track?
Office Hours featuring 50 Cent. I think right there, it gives us something to speculate and talk about, right? Because obviously Nas has been on his A game as far as business in the later stages of his career. Obviously, 50 has been credited for being a phenomenal businessman, especially transition outside of music. So I think it's gonna be some real boss talk. You know what I mean? Some business talk on this track. And I like it. It's you know what I mean? It's maybe not what everybody is looking for or asking for from 50, but if he could put him into a more, how do I want to say it? Like a grown man, you know what I mean? Like it's time for 50 to kind of translate.
If Nas can pull 50, because I was gonna say I think this helps 50 way more than it helps Nas musically, right? Obviously, 50 got his businesses and all of that stuff, but musically, I think it helps 50 a little bit more because the last few times 50 tried to get some steam for an album, he wasn't able to. You know what I'm saying? He struggled to get that done. So this might, especially if he comes in and he's not gonna be like that young mixtape 50 because got shot and all of that. It's always gonna sound different.
The problem with Fifth, pardon me, is that he never really left his element, right? As far as musically,
right?
It's always been club or street. So I'm wondering, are we finally gonna hear a transition in 50 into like some grown man stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Jay's 444 and things of that nature. Just talking about the business side. You know what I mean? The professional side,
right?
And leave all that other stuff. I mean, and it's risky. That may not be what people want to hear from Fifth, but I want to see if that's the direction they go with this particular song.
Yeah. And I want to come back to that. I want to finish talking about features, then I want to come back to that and kind of talk a little bit about, just music and the grown side of hip hop. You know what I mean? But before we do that, though, let's talk about some possible features or who you think could be possible features. Because, so with Magic, you had DJ Premier and ASAP on it. That was it, right? No other features.
Yes, DJ Premier, ASAP. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, I can't think of any other features on that one.
Right, and then when King's Disease 3 came out, there were no other features. was just Nas.
Right.
Right? All right, so now we know 50 is on this album. Something I've been waiting for them to do is go strictly with, artists from Nas' era. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping, all right, you got 50. I don't want it to be loaded with features. But since Nas is touring with Wu, I would love to see or hear another Wu track, another verbal intercourse or something.
Yes.
I was gonna say verbal intercourse.
Come on, man.
Oh my.
I would love to hear that. You know what I'm saying? I would love to hear that. I mean, come on, Nas, you can't be touring with Wu and not had made music. I can't see it. Come on, I can't see it.
Seriously,
I can't see it.
Ghost and Ray gotta be on there.
This is the second tour. Come on. I'm trying to go see that joint in September too when they come to DC.
But hey, tell me something.
You always do that, Sim. You always give your thoughts, and now I'm like, man, I don't even want to say my feature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean, I don't know. Who else can you imagine might be on it? Because he has surprised us over, since working with Hitboy, there's been a lot of surprises in who, he featured with over the years.
I'm gonna give you one in particular. I was thinking and hoping for. I'm not mad at another firm record, but I would much rather, something with him and AZ, going back to the back and forth, flow for flow, that type of vibe that they've been accustomed to doing together.
Mm-hmm.
So a AZ record would be dope. And then just thinking a little outside the box, he's been featuring a lot of young artists as of late, right?
Right.
And on all these projects. I'd like to see him showcase a new young female talent. You know what I mean? And I got no name for you. You know what I mean? Like whoever he chose, I have faith in that decision. But I would like him and whoever that artist may be, female artist, it's gonna be hard to go bar for bar next to Nas. Maybe only like a Rhapsody could do that. But
right.
You know what I mean? Just to see how they fare next to Nas. Maybe it's a party record and it makes it a little easier for them or whatever. But I wouldn't mind seeing him next to a new up and coming female rapper.
Okay.
Who would you rather see him with? Lola Brooke or Scarlett?
I don't see him and Scarlett, their style. I don't know. I don't see their styles
Some aggressive
working.
shit.
Yeah.
And who's the first person you said?
Lola Brooke, the little short girl with the I just want a rough neck.
I don't know if I heard her. Yeah, I heard Scarlett.
Yeah.
Like she's making her rounds right now.
Yeah, she's making around. I don't know if I don't see the blend of the styles like that. Although Nas did, some stuff with X. You know what I'm saying? She's kind of like I think X was kind of her influence. You know what I'm saying? I listened to a couple of interviews where she said X is, she really looked up to X, You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Now there's a question in the chat. I think it's a good question too, or somebody said that there's a rumor that the joint he did with 21 Savage, One Mic, One Gun. Non Plus said there's a rumor that One Mic, One Gun will be on Magic 2. I don't want it to be. Not that I don't like the song, but I heard it already. I don't want it to be on there.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I'm saying?
9 straight new fresh joints.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear something that I already heard.
Yeah, I doubt that. I don't think he does that. He does a lot of like, I'll do this one track and let that be by itself, and then go do something else.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
And just to throw one more artist out there, it never go wrong with a J. Cole Nas song.
Oh man, you can never go. You never could have went wrong with that.
recreate that one.
Yeah.
I think that'll be fire too.
Yeah, you do that, you can't go wrong with it.
That's true. That's true. Man, oh man, a feature I would like to see. A feature that I think that would be potential that we might see is Hitboy himself. I think Hitboy might wind up rapping again on this album. It wouldn't be a feature necessarily, but they do drop them as Nas albums.
Right.
So it would say Hitboy's name next to his name on the track, and then he would probably come in with a verse or something. But Hitboy himself has worked with a lot of rappers recently and had a Nas track on his own album that he dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And another person who is also on that same album is Currency. And one thing I know about Currency is Currency raps a lot. He's not scared to rap with anybody. And he works a lot with producers who I would also think would sound very well with Nas, like Alchemist. And, well, I'm not going to go into the list there. I'll be here all night. But I would not be surprised at all if maybe a little currency feature, peek up somewhere. It might be a little bridge somewhere, a little intro or something. Might not be a whole you do a verse, I do a verse type of thing, but it could be on there. I could see that. I could see Hitboy connecting part of the artist that he runs around with and puts on his albums and be like, yo, let me get this guy in here.
Right.
Put him on there.
I'm going to tell you what. I would expect, I don't know, 50's on the album. Maybe he'll go with, people from his era, but I guess I would expect at least one new person, not new person, but younger artist, maybe he does something with Corday. He had Life is Like a Dice Game, Corday, right? Maybe he does something with Corday.
I would see him working with Simba before Corday again. Now that I didn't like that song, I like Corday. It just seemed like, it seemed like something that Nas did that was more of a benefit for like Gibbs and Corday. You feel me? I feel like a guy like Simba, you know what I mean? Because Simba could really rip. Simba has that energy on it, and I've seen him talk about people he admires and all that. I feel like that could be a thing.
Yeah. Francis Jennings said Nas and Talib Kweli would be dope. That would be dope.
I was right there with you.
Nas and Talib Kweli. That would be fire.
That'd be whack.
Whack.
That'd be whack.
Might as well throw Mos Def on it.
Did you say whack?
Too.
Talib?
Savvy. Did you say whack?
Nas verse will be tight. I don't know about Talib's though.
Yeah, you feel it,
nice,
Talib?
bro.
Come on, bro.
No. Talib is nice.
Right?
But lately,
bro, if he's on a track with Nas, he's coming with it.
I ain't trying to hear that.
And I wouldn't mind Mos on there too.
If Mos is on there, I'll listen to it. I'm skipping Talib verse.
Damn, what do you got against it? What do you got against Kweli, man?
I like some of Kweli's solo albums. I like Kweli. I just lately it don't seem like, he's doing his podcast and all that. Like, yes, you know what I'm saying?
I would like to see.
They did that album that they put on Luminary, and I was listening to it, and
you wasn't a fan.
It's a Mos Def album with some Talib verses.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
I would love to see Mos Def and
Nas.
Listen, Mos Def has always been better than Kweli. Always. And he's dope. You know what I'm saying? He's dope. Black Thought. I would love to see Black Thought. Shoo, that'd be crazy. They had to go serious on that one because Black Thought really, man, when you hear stuff that he's dropping recently, like he doesn't get the, he doesn't get the
acclaim,
or
respect.
popular or whatever or whatever you want to say, but man, he's been ripping tracks to shreds.
It's crazy. The Roots as a name is more popular than him as a you know what I mean, as a artist.
Yeah, I could only imagine that joint would be crazy.
Every single Streams of Thought album that Thought dropped is fire. Thought will get in there with any rapper and make them really, really swing that sword.
Yeah.
Really, really swing that sword. So I would love to see that. Black Thought on a Black Thought and Nas. Oh Lord. Oh my goodness.
Crazy. You know something that, just going back to the Corday thing, right? When they did that song, they redid Life is Like a Dice Game from. I was hoping that Nas would take that blue. I know it was a Spotify thing. You know what I mean? They brought it to him and said, hey, let's do this. But I was like, yo, that would be dope. If, you got so many songs that you didn't release, on your demo tape all the way on up, right? All these songs that if you went back and said, let me take some of these old songs and redo them like he did with Life is Like a Dice Game, I think that would be dope. And for those people who have followed his career and know about these songs and listen to these songs, be crazy, be dope.
He did it on the real too.
Yeah.
On the 10-year anniversary.
Yep.
He started with the original verse, but then made it a whole new song. Mm-hmm. That was one of my favorite unreleased records, back in the day too.
Yeah.
To bring it one more for you. To bring it back to the Wu. Okay. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Ghostface and Ray are gearing up to drop another little joint, just the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And if they did make music on that tour, and they're keeping all the records for that album or whatever record they did for that new purple tape, whatever they're making, then I could understand that. But if there's another feature from the Wu that could be potentially there, Method Man lately
is Meth on tour with him?
He wasn't on tour with him last time because scheduling conflicts and whatever. But hopefully he'll be there this time around.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's not, I'll be very concerned as to the reasons why. But just on the merits of how he's been rapping lately, on the Lemon track, on the Bad News remix track that DJ Premier did when he put out some new Gangstar tracks, rest in peace to Guru. Method Man is sharp still. He's might be the sharpest out of the Wu at this stage in his life and career, because every time he drops, I'm like, yo, Method Man is ripping these tracks. And if Method Man is on there, perhaps Redman is on there too.
I got one too. I got two. One might be a little corny, a little cheesy, but and maybe not even for a Nas album, but I wouldn't mind a Nas Cameron feature. I know Cam's dropping a new record soon.
I mean, listen,
and
if
you squashing beasts and doing stuff like that, so that could be one.
Cam actually talked about, well, I don't know when it was, but I seen a few interviews of him and talking about how him and Nas kind of squashed the beef. You know what I mean? He was on a plane. Nas came up behind him. Hit him in the back. Whatever. Boom. They talk. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? I don't even know if they actually really talked like that. It was just like boom. It was cool. Whatever. So yeah, that would be dope. That'd be super dope.
Who are we talking about?
Cameron.
Cam. Oof. That'd be tight.
Yeah, man.
But Cam, like after he posted that thing saying that like when Jim was going that push, saying that like yo I'm doing a podcast now, I'm not rapping no more, like it is what it is. I'm like damn, like when was the last time Cameron rapped? and put something out.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I like to hear it.
It's been a minute.
I like to hear it though.
My other one, I was gonna say Jadakiss, but I think I'd much rather hear him with Styles P right about now, because I know whatever record he do with Styles P is gonna make me think. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna love a record with him and Jadakiss, but him and Styles P, they might have me, you know what I mean, pulling out a book or something, or wanting me to do some research.
And Nas and Jada do, they've done a lot of stuff together. I feel like Nas is like trying to move into doing stuff with people he hasn't worked with before.
Like Banks?
You know what I'm saying? Could be. You never know. Who knows? They're gonna surprise us. I'm pretty sure we will be surprised whenever that track list comes out and all of that. I wanted to go back.
West Coast feature, maybe a Kendrick.
Maybe a West Coast feature. There's going to be a West Coast style beat on there. For the most part, every album that they've done, there's been a West Coast style beat on there. I wanted to go back to something you were saying about 50 and, him kind of, maybe now doing like more grown up style music. I feel like Nas has, with this recent run, I don't want to say ushered in a new style, but really elevated, the whole grown man hip hop thing. Like really elevated and really created a lane and maybe even a platform for older artists and younger artists to look at and say, all right, so when I get to that age,
this level,
this is what I should be doing and how I can keep myself out there. Because there's no reason, and I know it's not a lot of 25-year-olds, but it's no reason that, Nas, boom, I'm dropping Magic 2, and it's all over the internet. It's everywhere, and people are excited about it, doing shows. You know what I'm saying? For him at this stage, to be doing that. All these other artists, I can remember, always been a huge KRS-One fan. There was a certain point when I listened to his music and I was like, I think he's, it's outdated. Big Daddy Kane, same thing. Rakim, the same thing. You know what I mean? It hasn't happened like that with Nas. And, I don't know, Jay-Z hasn't dropped anything in a long time, so who knows what's, what he's going to sound like if he does decide to drop something. But I feel like Nas kind of is
my friend calls it contemporary hip hop.
Contemporary hip hop, okay.
Adult contemporary.
I don't know. I don't want to say he's building it because I think people have, done it, but he's leading the charge at the very least. But I think he's setting that, just setting it up where people can look at it and say, all right, this is what I could be doing. This is how I should be doing music when I get to that part. When I get to I get to that age.
I think Life is Good was the first adult contemporary style album that we really saw, was like, subject wise and the way he was rapping and just the perspective that he took,
right?
And that came out before 444, so
came out before 444, but
a long time before too.
But Jay dropped something before 444. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was kind of like that. It was kind of in that
about
realm.
Magna Carta, the Holy Grail.
No, hold up. No, it wasn't Magna Carta. It wasn't well received. I can't think of the name right now, off the top.
Yeah, he was struggling with that production. You know what I'm saying? I think he had a hard time beat wise. I didn't enjoy a lot of the production choices that he
Kingdom
made.
Kingdom Come.
Yeah, I think that it was kind of his attempt to go into that realm. It wasn't well received. 444, of course, was there. You know what I mean? It was there.
What about a Jay feature? How you feel about that?
I'm with it.
That'd be fire.
I'm with it.
And they were hanging out not too long ago too, so it was like I could see that being a thing. Like them having a session recently enough to have been for that album, and that'd be really hard, bro. Because when they get together, usually it's fire.
I ain't gonna front though. If he did have a Jay feature, I would want it on that same track with 50. That office hours. that I mean, if especially if it's in that direction of, you know what I mean, like the this is where you could end up from hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who better than them three right there?
Yeah.
That'd
Nah,
be
no doubt
fire.
about it. No doubt about it. But what do you think
The
about
other,
that? Just Nas kind of create. I don't want to say he's creating that lane, but leading that lane. Because when you most artists his age right now, what they doing?
I
right.
mean,
Podcasting.
more likely not rapping.
You know, I mean, people dropping albums. You know what I mean? But you know, you're not getting the fanfare behind it. I think Busta's album did pretty good when it dropped a few years ago. Fat
Of the
Joe
album.
dropped the album.
Didn't that album get taken down from streaming because of some kind of sample clearance thing?
Copyright. Yeah, I mean, clearancing.
Who? Fat
Like
Joe?
he had that Fat Joe album.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it was like he didn't get. It was like a mixtape basically. So he had a bunch of samples, a bunch of things that he didn't even get cleared. So I think by the end of it, it was like one song that was still available. You got the whole album on like platforms,
Right.
but they all in gray except for one song.
I remember that day that it dropped. There was like 3 other albums that dropped.
Unless you purchased it. If you purchased it, you got it. You own it.
Then you got it. But like I listened to one album and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go spin this Fat Joe joint, and it was gone. Like it was like cannot play. I'm like, I'm like, no. And people say it was fire too. But speaking of the other section of rap, right? A lot of them started to come back out of the woodwork and start rapping again after the Griselda movement blew up and had that impact it was having. And I would not be surprised if we saw someone like Conway on this album or Benny the Butcher. And either one of those guys I'd be very happy with. Westside Gun, probably, of course, like he probably do an intro, drop some ad-libs on there. Or he could do a verse if he really want to get in that bag. But he been executive producing for Estee Knack and like doing a bunch of stuff. So he might have been too busy for that. But Conway or Benny?
Let me tell you something. I mean, you already know Benny and Nas been in the studio. You know what I mean?
That's true.
We already know they've been in the studio together. The song that they made, Benny
was like he rather have.
He'd rather come out with something
for the fellas. You know what I mean? He with
exactly.
Nas than
right.
Something for the ladies.
But let me tell you, man, if Griselda was on this joint, be tough. And Benny already works with did work with Hitboy.
Right, exactly. They have an album together.
Yeah, be tough.
And it was fire.
It was fire, right. It'd be tough. That'd be tough. You know what I mean?
Man, oh man, I would love to see that. But about that office hours topic, Tone, when I hear that, the other connotation I hear to that is like me when I was in college, you go to the office hours, you go there and you get with your professor and you can ask questions and they can help you out and whatever. So on a business aspect, it could be something like that, but it could also be here. We're about to come in here and school you on some hip hop stuff. And if we're going to come in here and school you, then maybe the content of what's in these verses could be on some real QB, politic, historical type of stuff. Because when I go back to that track that he did talking about Prodigy and the mural and all that, I'm like, and that was on the last Magic album. So maybe they're gonna be schooling us on some more QB politics and some interplay between crews and people that was moving around back then, and how Nas was connected to these people and 50 was cool with these people as well, and that would be fire. I would love to hear that. It'd be very informative.
Yeah. We'll see, man. We'll see how this goes. I know Tony
'Cause the
was
last-
asking. Tony was asking the question before we got on about, speaking of Nas, you got to talk about storytelling a little bit,
Yes.
right? I know you said you was listening to Joe Budden, and they were talking about who the best. Go ahead, Tony. You say who the
But
best
it
storytellers.
originated with Drink Champs with Yayo and EFN debating on the better storyteller, Ice Cube or Biggie, and that clip went viral, and then a lot of other platforms and podcasts have been debating it. Excuse me. So I brought the question to Sim. One, who he thought was the better storyteller out of the two, and then two, if we could just kind of come up with a top three storytellers, because obviously I felt Nas is the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, out of Biggie and Ice Cube, that's easy for me. That's Biggie. Not that Ice Cube isn't, but that's Biggie for me. I mean, Biggie's one of the best storytellers all time. I don't know if Ice Cube is, in my opinion.
I think he's up there though. Like I was questioning it when people started naming the records, and then I reflect on the records, which I don't even have the list. I think Cube is underrated.
Okay.
My thing,
Yeah.
All right.
my thing with Big is it's a smaller sample size,
Right.
but within that sample size, it's probably like 75-80% storytelling in his music. Where Cube, you gotta pick. It's a larger sample size, but it may only be 20% of his music. 30% of his music.
Right.
That's storytelling. But better, I think I would go with Big. Part of that is East Coast bias. I'm gonna be honest.
Of course, me too. I ain't going front either.
Well, here's the thing.
See, I agree with I agree with Cavez, right? I never really looked at Cube as a storyteller. You know what I'm saying? And it's not even as a knock on him. I just never really seen him as a storyteller. That doesn't mean he can't. Like today was a good day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I never seen him as that intricate storyteller. Like that's really a big part of his music. You know what I mean? Never really seen it that way. Go ahead, Savvy. Go ahead, Savvy. You was getting ready to say something.
When you talk about today was a good day and like, I don't remember what the NWA track was called, but that was a storytelling track. Ice Cube wrote that joint. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. There was a lot of tracks that Ice Cube.
The Ice Cube told
storytelling tracks that he wrote with NWA. No, it was.
And the style of rapping that they do is very different, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
Biggie was portraying a different image than Ice Cube ever did. Ice Cube was kind of, his flow was more calm. He's more laid back and chilling. He's got his West Coast flow, and he's got that hard-hitting delivery, but he's still got the West Coast flow. I think that the way Biggie told so many stories in that short period of time, we kind of take him as a storyteller more so than we would probably if we had a chance to see him drop 3, 4, 5 albums, 6 albums if he had lived longer. You know what I'm saying? Right. But the warning, the one about going to get with Shorty in the dude's crib and then robbing the crib and doing all that, like fire stories. But I don't know if we can say Biggie is a better storyteller without acknowledging somewhat of a bias between regions here.
No, I agree with you. I agree
People
with
on
you.
the East Coast listen to more Biggie. People on the West
I
Coast
agree
listen
with
to
you.
more Ice Cube.
Listen to more Cube because I probably haven't listened enough to all of his albums to say, he doesn't have, you know, he
And
doesn't
if I
have that many
hadn't been,
stories. And I ain't even gonna front. I haven't.
I remember this coming up, and me and my student of the game bag, I was like, I'm about to go down the rabbit hole and listen to everything, just so I could get my own opinion on it. But I've been ill for the past few days. I just got back on my feet, so I'm gonna do that now. I didn't have a chance, but I remember that conversation, and I agree with you, Tone. I feel like Nas. I mean, he told the story backwards. It could start at the ending.
that's that's what I said off mic. I'm like, once you tell a story backwards, I don't know if you have any competition.
Yeah, I mean,
as
You know
far
what I'm
as
saying? Like,
storytelling.
and then
But
not
real
only
quick,
that,
Ice Cube responded, right? So they
Uh-huh.
asked him about it, and he basically said politically, I don't politically correct. I'm not mad at anybody who chose Biggie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you asking me, obviously I'm gonna choose myself. But then he kind of cheated because he was like, well, what are we talking about with storytelling? Because I write movies. You know what I mean? I got
Right.
so he tried to cheat and take it outside of hip hop, which I
Yeah.
thought was funny.
When you talk about Nas though, like Nas would tell a story within a track that he wasn't even telling a story.
that's true.
Sometimes, you know what I mean? And you'll be like, yeah, I mean, all the time he does that.
Do with the Irish Jersey light skin with herpes.
Yeah, I mean, if you go, the first time I ever noticed that he did that was a lot of people don't like this track. You know what I mean? It was one of Nas's, I guess, cornier tracks, but Big Girl, right from Nostradamus.
You're a big girl. That's one of my favorite songs.
Me too, but a lot of people be hating on that joint. You know what I'm saying? But I liked it, that joint. Anyway,
Undying Love.
but in Big Girl, you know what I'm saying? You have the whole, you know what he's talking about, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, you older now, boom, boom, boom. But in like the last verse, he tells a story about, the girl getting into a fight. You know what I'm saying? They broke it up, blah, 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 blah. It's just like, like he'll tell you a story without you even knowing he's telling you a story until you really go back and check it. Like, oh, damn, he told a little story on that joint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nas is definitely,
NAS, man.
one of the most intricate storytellers you have. I mean, Undying Love, that's one of the most, when you talk about that story and how intricate it was, how much it seemed and felt like a movie script, you know what I'm saying? That crazy.
Yeah.
That was
I'm
crazy.
glad that they gave Slick Rick his flowers at least on that episode. But I was, you know what I'm saying?
Slick Rick
I was
got a
just
whole
happy to see.
album. A whole album
Bro.
of storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, I was sitting there watching the episode, and I was just dazzled by the fact that we had 5 hours of Tony Yayo talk about anything. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't really press tripping, but I definitely took note of it. I was like, all right, I might have to do my homework on that, do and get back to it.
Yeah. Carvey said you can't forget about Ghostface. Oh, no doubt about it. Can't forget about Ghost.
Never forgetting Ghostface. Actually, when we did the episode about King's about the first Magic, or it might have been KD3, I said I wanted to see Ghost or Ray or Ghost and Ray on the album, and I'm like, listen, I'll take that anytime. And Ghost could tell a story too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, anyway, Friday, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have this Magic 2. We're gonna have Magic 2 on Friday. I'm excited for it. Who knows? We know 50's on it. We don't know who else is gonna be on it. Hitboy's producing the album. Pretty sure we'll hear some other things in the coming days.
I want the track list.
You know what I mean? Me too.
I want the track list, man.
It's funny. The last time when he dropped Magic, he just kind of came out with it, bam, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
This time there's a little bit more lead up time to it. You know what I'm saying? To build in anticipation.
Is 50 is the song with 50 the single, the lead single, considering that's the only song we know of?
We know of. I don't know. It could
I'm
be.
I'm
You know what
I'm
I'm
gonna
saying?
go over
Is
and
there even
say
going to be a lead single?
it probably is.
You know, I mean, with Magic, there were, I don't did they even do a real video for Magic?
I thought he did a couple of videos, like they were kind of dropping back to back. I don't know if they were like a real. I'm gonna say visuals.
Visuals, yeah, there were some
visuals.
visuals. There were visuals, but I don't know if there was a video, like a video.
Right.
You know what I mean? But this time it seems like it's more, you know, maybe it's more of considered a regular album, you know, rather than, you know, just we dropping this real quick. You know, so we'll see. Anyway, anything else, man? Anything else y'all want? Anything
My
about
question is, do you think Magic will be a trilogy? Because I'm leaning towards it. I'm leaning towards it. I'm thinking, you know,
I do.
You can't leave us with two.
I do. I think that this right here is, honestly speaking, I think this is another lead up to something else. You know, I feel like, because I know they said that it was newly recorded material. I still feel like Magic had some cutting room, cutting room floor, whatever, tracks on there, from KD3, KD2 that maybe they said, I don't know, maybe some new stuff as well. I still feel like some of that was there. You know what I mean? They made some tracks that wasn't sure what to do with it. All right, we're going to put it on Magic. And I feel like Magic 2 could be something similar leading up to another project.
I'll be so
I don't want to say KD4. I don't want them to do KD4. I want to keep it at 3, let them chill. But, it's not me. It's Nas, Hit-Boy.
I could see them doing this one, starting up a new saga. Doing maybe 2 albums of that, and then in between that and the last one and the next one, doing the third Magic album.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I could see. Last thing I want to say is I want to just reiterate my over a decade by now, because geez, I was a teenager. It was like, that's what, 2023 now. It was like 2011, 2010, maybe, when I found out about Hitboy as a producer. Mm-hmm. And it was him and Mike Will Made It were kind of blowing up at the same time. Mike Will, blew up and became this whole commercial darling and started doing a lot of Ray Shremmer and got out of here. Hitboy had a similar trajectory, but then cooled off a little bit. Did some of his own music, did that, grinding my whole life. And it's one of the hardest beats I ever heard in my life. And then it kind of got quiet for a little while. I stopped seeing his name so much. And then when he popped back up with Nas, I was like excited, because I'm like, producer I like, rapper I've been dying to hear. I want to thank you, Hitboy, for what you have done to unleash the beast within Nas, because all the time he wasn't dropping, we knew the fire was in there. We knew it was in Nas somewhere. It's in there. Like this is an MC. Like, we know that if it was right, you'd be rapping right now. And that Kanye album misfired, and I'm just so grateful, because Hitboy.
I think, I think that right there really kind of pushed Nas to be like, yo, I got to do this right, because
yes,
this right here, like, my career could be done. Like, people couldn't be not checking for me at all. You know what I mean? If I don't get this right, you know what I'm saying? And then along comes Hit-Boy. I mean, like, at the perfect time, like, along comes Hit-Boy, because after the Nas Year album, some people liked it. When I go back and listen to it, I'm a little bit more like, this ain't half as bad as people said,
Yeah. I like it better in hindsight now, too.
Yeah,
I think the biggest problem with that one was just it was too short.
Okay. You
You know
know,
what I mean?
I felt like Kanye left it underproduced. I mean, not
Yeah.
underproduced, not underproduced,
Incomplete.
incomplete. You know what I'm saying? You know, not finished. You know what I mean? I felt like that, but I think he looked at that and said, "Nah, I gotta get this right." Along came Hit Boy. They started making magic together, and boom. You know what I mean? There it
And all
is.
the beats are fire.
Yeah,
And Nas is shredding through these beats like it's no one else's business.
yeah. You know
I
what I mean?
just I just want to say thank you, Hit Boy, for unleashing your your greatness at its height and keeping it for the Nas albums. You know, it's
You
just
know?
because he's doing his own albums. Hit Boy is
Right.
doing his own album. He did something with his dad recently. It's
Yep,
fire.
yep.
He did his own album. It's fire, and I love it. And the beats are hard. They're all hard. They're all fire. He's one of the best producers that we have right now. But when he gets with Nas, I'm just like, oh my God, the Hit Boy.
And credit Kid Boy and credit Nas, because I mean, I'm sure Nas opened a lot of doors and
Yeah.
opened him up to a lot of people that he wasn't familiar with. And he's been on an incredible run even without Nas. You know what I
They
mean?
got
Like,
a Grammy together, buddy. Like,
great album with Benny, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did Sean's album, Big Sean's last album.
yeah, he
He's
did.
done about 4 collaborative albums outside of the Nas collabs in that same period.
Right.
So we talk about 5 for Nas and Hit Boy, but Hit Boy's put out probably about 7 in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
same time frame,
Yeah.
including
Yeah.
the Nas joints. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, Hit Boy been going absolutely nuts on the soundscape of hip hop lately, and hip hop is better for it. For the once again, Hit Boy, I thank you for what you did for my guy. Because every time Nas is about to drop, it's like Christmas, baby.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Well, Cat Bates is bringing it up. He said, I feel like the more he drops, the less value his projects have over time. Just my opinion.
the
Well-
only reason I disagree, because I was just telling Sim a couple days ago, I just put on KD 1, 2, 3. Like I just looped them in together and listened to the whole joint all day long. You know what I mean? And it gave me that same feeling, like, oh man, I forgot about, it's been a while I listened to this. So I don't think so. I think once you go back to it, the value is still there.
Yeah, I mean, I know it is for me
Yeah,
when I go back
I
and listen
agree.
to it. The value is there. I feel like, you know, you talk about someone having a whole nother leg of their career. Like, I feel like this is truly another leg of his career. I was thinking about it the other day before I even knew he was dropping an album, and I was listening to KD3, and I was like, because I had just finished talking with my brother about KD3, and I was like, Nas literally over the last few years, he gave us 4 albums and a whole nother, almost like a whole new catalog of music
Yeah.
to listen to. You know what I mean? It's
And
crazy.
that's another reason why I don't feel like he's at risk of losing value to his projects, because Nas is the kind of artist who brings so much skill and gravitas, and like it makes a moment out of everything because of what the first chapter, the first whole book of his career, from Illmatic to, if you want to say, Stillmatic, and then that part after that to leading up to it, Life is Good. Then he kind of vanished again. I just feel like now we can take his career more in sections.
Okay. I mean, and you just
And
named
then-
the sections right there.
Right. You know
You
what
just
I'm
named the
saying?
sections.
Once we get into King's Disease, you know, it's like, you know, he got his first Grammy. He's financially free. He can just rip as much as he wants to and have his fun. I think that it unlocks a new creative demeanor that just
Yeah.
we're hearing a different. It's not the same Nas we've been hearing before. It's not like we're hearing God's Son era Nas drop over and over and over again. Like, oh, this is like the last one. This is the same thing as the last one. I remember exactly where I was every time he dropped. When he dropped KD1, I remember where I was. King Disease 2, I remember where I was. Same for Magic and for number 3. And they all sound like their own moment.
Right.
Still. The only way he can even diminish anything is if he comes weak on the track. And it's not going to happen because it's Nas. And as long as Hitboy is still a Hitboy, the production is going to be there too. So I feel like MCs is really in trouble now in these conversations.
Yeah. One more thing before we go. I did want to ask this. This isn't even about Nas. Off the topic of Nas. LL Cool J is supposed to drop an album this year. Right? He had a single called The Force. It's pretty dope. Well, I heard a clip. I don't know if I heard the entire single. Heard a clip of it, The Force. The entire album is supposed to be produced by Q-Tip. Right? The Force sounds, I was like, yo, this is dope. You know what I mean? Like, he sounds refreshed. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys have heard it at all, but your thoughts on LL dropping an album this year with Q-Tip. And, you know, LL got, you know, I did a little video about it a little while ago. LL's got him and Ice-T got a show that they're co-hosting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's gonna be fire.
Yeah. I think it
And
drops
you know
in
what's
August.
crazy? You know what's crazy about that show?
What was
I had that idea first.
that? For real?
I had that idea. Yeah, I had that idea. I was a freshman in college.
Uh-huh.
So this is probably 2012, 2013. And I was really like, I'm like, yo, like, I want to, because I was just mad at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, I was just sick and tired of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I was like, screw that Hall of Fame. We can make our own stuff. And I bet you if I like went around and grabbed all of the artifacts that people had that was like historical artifacts that they was recording on the old NPCs Preem used to use and Biggie's old mic and his rhyme books and whatever and put them all on the thing, we could have our own stuff. I was up here with it. I had to think about making it a TV show though. So
yeah, it sounds pretty dope. I think it's on A&E.
That's the genius of it because doing that and just filming it and putting it on TV,
that's dope.
I'm about to be like this.
Yeah, you know, they're going, you know, getting old artifacts, telling the stories behind it and all of that. So that's going to be pretty dope. But yeah, LL got an album coming out, supposed to come out this year. The year is halfway over, hasn't come out yet, with Q-Tip. I mean,
it's gonna be hard.
I'd like to see LL come back with something dope.
And maybe LL's on the Magic 2 album.
I hope it has a group feature. I would definitely look forward to that. LL tends to make good music when he has
when he's got
like
a crew
3-4,
right?
You know, 3 or 4 people on
4, 3, 2, 1. What's his face with Foxy Brown and everybody? Yeah.
Who would you put on that Posse cut right now?
If I was
similar to what Sim said about what he would want, like with Nas reaching for his era, I would like to see LL grab a bunch of. I mean, granted, I don't know how many people are back from his beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if he could reach out to like the Busters, you know what I mean? The
right. Well,
those guys, I think that would be fire.
Yeah. Nas is supposed to be on that album.
Oh.
He's supposed to be on LL's album. Yeah.
Nas with Q-Tip production. Don't go wrong there either.
Word. He's supposed to be on that album. So.
Oh, my God. Hip hop.
That might be. I'm looking forward to that album, man. LL was my first favorite rapper. Well, second. Rakim. You know what I'm saying? LL. And then it was Nas. Well, is Nas. But LL was one of my guys, man.
First favorite rapper.
You know what I mean? You know, one of my guys. I would love to see
LL.
LL come back with a tough album. Love to see him
That'd be
come back
good.
with a tough album.
Hip
He's
hop
another
turning
one
50.
as far as just as far as the younger generation, as far as like where you could take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From being in the booth to being on a movie screen to having talk shows to just, you know what I mean? He's another guy that they could just look at and be like, look at where hip hop started and look at where it could take you.
Yeah, no doubt. Francis Jennings said the force is blazing. Uncle L got a chip on his shoulder right now. Q-Tip blessed him with some heat. LL body. Yep, no doubt about it. The track is dope. You know what I mean? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we keep saying it, but I think we really gonna do it now, be more consistent with getting on the stupid talking. It just be hard sometimes with nothing but Knicks, and then I'm coaching basketball, and I got all these things happening, and it'd be hard for me to jump on. But I'm gonna just start jumping on and just going live and talking about anything. I don't even care. Just talking. Something to talk about. You know what I mean?
I'm glad to hear it, man.
Something to
Anytime I
talk
can
about,
jump on with you.
You know what I mean?
And,
I got some
and-
things
and-
I kind of I wanted to maybe jump on tomorrow night because some things I want to say about Ja Rule. I seen Ja Rule on Matt Hoffa, you know what I'm saying? He was, wilding out on there, talking some stuff. I wanted to talk about Ja.
Consequence been on
You
Talib's
know what I'm
neck
saying? So,
for like 2 weeks.
There's some things to talk about.
I thought he quieted down.
No,
He quieted down.
He put a live Instagram live out like an hour ago talking about
Okay.
put the knife in the comments if Talib stabbed Kanye in the back.
All right. I was just saying, he got a warning shot and he was quiet for a little bit, so I ain't hear the new joint.
Yeah, stuff to talk about. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. Yeah, we're gonna get up out of here, and hopefully, I don't know if you guys are available, but I know I got some things I got to get done, but I plan on having it done and jump on tomorrow night.
Should be home by 10:30.
All right, no doubt about it, folks. Out of here. Peace.